Did you hit the button? Did you hit the button? Did you hit the
Yeah,
button?
yeah,
Did you hit the
yeah,
button?
yeah, yeah. Hey, everybody, you are tuning in to the Free Matt podcast. It's free.
Hey.
It's Matt.
It's free,
Free.
man.
It's free. It's Matt. It's a podcast. There you go.
Better be, better be free. You broke gigolo.
If you want to tune into our OnlyFans, no, just kidding. There's no OnlyFans. I haven't. We haven't scooped that far down yet. Anyway, folks. I am Matt Free Matt, also known as Mogadishu Matt, the man on
Mogadishu Matt.
Matt. All right, the man on my celestial left from from another bombed out bumper, yeah, sure, bumper, somewhere else,
Bumper.
bunker outside of the Mogadishu Downs, live from satellite link hookup, the one and
Woo!
only General Patrick Flynn.
We are your hookups on this Friday night, people.
Is it? Hold on. Let me see. Training out of the mean streets of Las Vegas from the celestial city of San Pedro Sula. Oh Lord. Let's get rocking, folks. The Free Matt podcast, a libertarian roundtable style discussion. When I wibble wobble the microphone around.
You wibble wobble, you wong. What?
Yeah, wibble wobble the wang. I said you hit that rear end and it just goes wobble. Anyway, the Free Matt podcast, libertarian roundtable discussion. It is, we discuss various current events. We talk about social issues, stupid pop culture references. Usually we are team of esteemed, austere scholars have dug up these articles for your perusal and our discussion.
So you better enjoy it. You better enjoy it.
Or we'll go to your house and do nothing.
Unless she's hot.
Yeah. Nothing is your sister. Your sister's first name is Nothing. It's like, thanks, man. Somewhere out there, somebody's like, man, he got me good. All right. And also wanted to give a special thanks to our, hopefully, corona-free brothers in the awesome libertarian paradise known as Somalia.
Ah.
Because I got a couple fans. Thank you, guys.
You do, apparently. You are getting to be world renowned.
All right, folks. We will get on with the rat killing. I have an article from Reason.com that was May the 1st of this year. A woman set up a little free pantry without a permit. The county threatened criminal charges. And this was a civil rights lawsuit alleges that the government violated Kathy Hayes' constitutional rights when it shuttered her free pantry. And that article's from Billy Binion. I'm going to tell you, with a name like Billy Binion, I hope to goodness you're the kind of guy who likes to bust people's faces open at a bar.
Maybe. I mean, it sounds like a foot condition, honestly.
The Bunyan.
Yeah.
Bob Bunyan. I don't know, my hand, my foot hurts. That's what bunions are named after. Bob Bunyan. I'm just kidding. I'm not a podiatrist. I said, just because you have a foot fetish doesn't mean you're a podiatrist.
Out of all the things to have a fetish for, I never understood that one.
Yeah, ears maybe. No, just kidding. For the forbidden fruit element.
Still, it just never, it's just not my deal. Not my deal. I'm glad somebody has them to complete their body. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're there to make your body whole. But other than that,
well, let me ask you this much: There was some research mentioned on the honey badger radio. Now the irony is that they were talking about research that had something to do with it was like disabled people and porn and stuff, and it was talking about like people with stumps. And I said, "Is that your type of enjoyment, like the like stumps and stuff like that?"
No, no, it's really not. I mean, I can't. I guess it takes all kinds, but out of all the things you could watch, it's just that's not my deal.
Well, it was worth a try because if I was going to
I
pin
mean,
that on
granted,
anybody,
they can't run, so I kind of see the appeal in that regard.
they got both of their arms. I mean, hold on, they're missing arms. Almost said like, yeah, you can outrun somebody who's who's got who's got their arms. Well, if they don't have legs, like, oh, okay. Let's not mince words here.
Pretty much.
Oh Lord, this old Kathy Haynes here says. Billy says here. Billy says. It started with a bowl of chicken noodle soup and a desire to help the community. It ended with the government threatening criminal charges. For 16 years, our family struggled with food insecurity, and a lot of people don't understand how hard it is if they don't struggle with that, says Kathy Hay, who notes she is in a much better financial place now. I'm always looking for ways to help people that are having a hard time. Inspired by leftovers from a pot of chicken soup she made, Hay started researching ways to start a free little pantry in her Assoton County, Washington neighborhood. It's Washington State. So in Denver, she set one up in her backyard, replete with refrigerated food, canned goods, and produce, all available for free to those struggling to make ends meet. It mentioned, just kind of dice through it here. Talked about enjoy. A lot of people have been doing this, popping up in certain neighborhoods, and says that the community really responded positively. And says the excitement was short lived. In February this year, I believe, the county health department dropped by to tell her and her husband that they needed to immediately desist operations because Hay.
Dun 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 dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun.
dun,
Dun.
dun.
The Empire showed up.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to feed anybody. What? You're trying to help the poor? I'm going to jack you up. We will not have that. The hungry? The poor? Nah. You better get out of here. We're going to drop kick you like a puppy. Get out of here.
Drop kick you like a Murphy.
Yeah, get out of here. The drop kick Murphys. Gang's all here. Let me see. Because Hay didn't have a permit. If they refused, the county threatened to pursue criminal charges because there's nothing more criminal than trying to feed the hungry. That was not in the paper. I just added that.
Sometimes you gotta ad lib, man.
What's more, getting that license wouldn't be sufficient to reboot the pantry. She would have to pay a fine. She would have to cough up an annual fee, and she would have to abide by a laundry list of regulations more appropriate for a large scale distribution center. Because there's nothing like being charitable, like the government making it hard to be charitable. All right, it's kind of parsed through the little requirement saying canned items had to have a commercial label that went all the way across the circumference of the can. Fresh fruits, the foods were prohibited entirely. You had to have a separate collection spot where to screen everything. Oh God, it was have to create print flyers explaining what can and cannot be donated. She would need to elevate the pantry above ground, disqualifying her cupboard setup, though the health department would be specific about how high it needed to be. God. Now the Institute for Justice has filed a civil rights lawsuit on her behalf, as well as on behalf of two women who benefited from the free pantry. Awesome. The suit says the county infringed on Hayes' constitutional rights when it stopped her from giving away food on her own property and alleges that it likewise violated the two beneficiaries' constitutional right to accept private charity. That, by the way, I believe is First Amendment stuff. I'm dead serious. It says the regulations that the county wants Kathy to follow actually hurt the people they are intended to protect, says Carolyn Grace Brothers, which is a really polite sounding name, a constitutional law fellow at the Institute for Justice. The food in Kathy's pantry poses no more threat to its beneficiaries than the food at a roadside farm stand with an honor box. Yet Kathy has to follow pages of regulations to share food in her own backyard, while produce stands are allowed to sell food without interference. Okay, it says her efforts would be really helpful considering they were the first state to report COVID-19. It's a working class town. The poverty level is around 20% before the coronavirus struck. It says Hay is hoping for a speedy resolution. The ideal outcome would be for the county to let me and anybody else who would like to have a little free pantry to be able to open one up, she says, without being afraid that they're going to be charged with criminal behavior. Here's where I'm going to say where the people who showed up to her house need to be ashamed. They literally, I would find out the people who are working behind this. I'd really go to them and say, is this what you wanted to do with your life? Like, is this like, are you proud of yourself? Or do you really think this is so productive? We've made it 200 something years without having to have a license to give somebody food. And we're literally watching people hungry, not being able to get food. And you literally have to make it hard for somebody to get free food.
Yeah, well, that, and also I think that, any community, any town, and they always, even at the government level, they always say, give more, give to charity, be charitable. Well, that's what charity looks like, people, plain and simple. From the ground up, no, government regulation, no, whatever you want to call it. That's what charity looks like, especially if it's the non-perishable stuff like the canned goods, peanut butter, honey, stuff that doesn't expire and you don't really have to worry about it spoiling. What does it matter if it's in a pantry off somebody's property?
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You better lay off this license stuff before I'll lay the smackdown on your Rudy Poo Candace.
Pretty much. And I mean, I
He's
could
a rock.
understand if there was a lot of perishable stuff like meats and certain fruits and veggies and things, but at the same time, that's also where you could let the free market dictate what it wanted to do. If the stuff that was in the free pantry that was bad, I don't think there would be a lot of people going after the pantries.
Can you smell what the rock is feeding?
Pretty much.
The rock wants to feed the hungry, and then he comes in front of you and your Rudy Poo Candace. I would love him and Stone Cold to team up and beat those people. That's the bottom line. Because
Stone Cold said so. Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah for feeding the hungry.
Give me a hell yeah.
He's drinking beer, kicking the door down. Get out, we're going to feed the hungry. Oh, Lord. Ooh,
that would be hilarious.
Ooh, the next article. Tough segue. Next article from the Huffington Post.
No segue, actually.
Yeah. No chance for a segue.
But technically, though, we could segue from our last recording and say we have found another potential third-party candidate, and we are about to inform you of his name here in a little bit. Drum roll.
According to the Huffington Post, Mr. Matt Fuller. The only reason I like to call him Mr. Matt because his name is Matt. His headline reads from March the 6th of this year.
His head?
Justin Amash truly doesn't care if he's a spoiler in the presidential election. From the Washington Bureau, Representative Justin Amash isn't trying to run a spoiler campaign for president, but he may end up doing so anyway. Amash told HuffPost in a phone interview that he's running to win, not to help or hurt another candidate, or deny President Donald Trump or presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden a majority of electoral votes and throw the election to the House of Representatives, where Amash has served for 5 terms. Having covered Amash closely for his entire time in Congress, I can tell you he almost always believes what he says. A rare characteristic in members of Congress. I need to believe in something. I believe I'll have another beer.
I usually do on a regular basis.
We will soon, or you will
Oh.
soon. I'll join you.
True,
If you come over to the brewery, I'll go with you. I can always bring something with me.
true.
I talked about, I'm just going to parse through some of it. Longshot Libertarian campaign for White House. He's truly unconcerned about the effects of his candidacy. There's no way to know how a campaign goes until you run it. There's no way to know where votes come from, which is true. He seemed to ignore early polling and suggest he would draw more votes from Biden in Michigan than from Trump, as well as firsthand knowledge of the fealty that most Republicans show to the president. But as Amash usually is, he's technically correct. His favorite kind of being correct. Technically. Oh, goodness. Oh, here's some interesting stuff. A poll from June 2019 can't determine how his candidacy will affect the 2020 race, and the way Amash campaigns will shape which voters he appeals to. Millions of Republicans would vote for Trump if he's the only alternative to Biden, Amash pointed out, but they might consider someone else if there's a better option. Some Democrats feel the same way about Biden, allowing him to steal votes from those reluctant supporters. I anticipate running a campaign that harms both candidates' chances, Amash said. I mean, that's the point. I like that.
Yes.
I don't want to survive. I want to kill both of them.
Exactly.
Like Jerry, former coach Jerry Kill. Yes, the guy's name was Kill. K-I-L. He's a real dude. He was a football coach, Coach Kill.
I'll be damned.
Just awesome name. He should have been a wrestler.
I started to say the exact same thing because that sounds like this back in the Dr. D. David Schultz days.
The wrestler. It says when you press him on his own preference between Trump and Biden, he tries to avoid the question. No, duh. Oh, Lord. But beneath the surface, what created Trump is still there. Whether Trump's in office or not at all, Joe Biden is not going to address that problem.
This is true.
Here's the weird thing. Matt Fuller, he seemed to do-si-do this guy. And he's wondering why, like, he's asking, like, some butthole questions. And like, you mix them between, like, butthole questions and toss-ups. And then he's like, well, I pressed him, and he seems to be dicey with his answers. It's like, he doesn't like your Chauncey-ass answers, is what his
Chauncey-ass questions?
Yeah, Chauncey-ass questions. Hell, I'm so flustered.
Yeah, I did get the feel. I mean, I don't know if this was the writer's intention, but I did get the feeling that it was kind of like, I'm asking you these questions, but what I really want to know is, how do you feel about the blue?
I mean, he just. I mean, this is like they had asked a former representative from Idaho, one of his old allies. They said people must be surprised to realize that Justin would rather see a Trump presidency than a Biden presidency, even if it's a 51-49 proposition. That's just Rawls' opinion, his buddy Raul. And I don't think that's right. I don't have a preference for either one of them. Yeah. He doesn't like either one of them.
I don't either, really.
I mean, do you like Miller Lite or Bud Light? I hate light beer.
Exactly. I'll take a High Life over a light beer.
But I said, I was trying to think of who was it, Goldman, who said he kind of got off of drinking whiskey, stopped drinking whiskey, and he's like, yeah, I had a lot of good wine lately. He goes, and he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I kind of know how you feel. I was like, I don't like those light beers either. Oh Lord, I'd rather have a good port.
Porter?
Port, P-O-R-T, like strong wine.
Oh, no, I don't know. No idea.
Okay, he brought that concern to Democrats. Former Senator Claire McCaskill, Democrat from Missouri, summed it up this way. I think she's from Missouri. Every single anti-Trump vote needs to be on the viable candidate for president. Meaning, and of course, she didn't say this, but it says meaning Biden. And Democrats clearly worry that Republicans will fall more in line with Trump than Democrats will with a former vice president. They dropped balloons from the sky in the West Wing when Justin Amash announced he was running for president. Because Trump's actual reaction said Amash would make a wonderful candidate. It's reverse psychology.
I think so. I really do.
It was an attempt to rile up Democrats and try to sink his nomination. Oh, I'll put it this way. As much as I dislike the president's tone, demeanor, and many of his policies, I think he understands how to campaign. And he's one of the best trolls on Twitter you're going to find.
Yes, he is.
Besides Matt Free Matt, Somalia's best libertarian personality.
Got to start somewhere.
I'm at your service, my faithful people. It says Amash has argued that no candidate is entitled to the presidency or the presumption of victory. Thank you. And that the partisan attacks he's faced since announcing his candidacy are precisely the reason he wants to run, to challenge that mindset.
I like that right there. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty strange to me to argue that a candidate who might get a lot of traction shouldn't be on the ballot because the American people might prefer that candidate. Yeah, that sounds like word soup, but we'll roll with it. That backlash may end up as a key argument in favor of Amash as he seeks a libertarian nomination in 2 weeks. Amash left the Republican Party in July to become an independent, is now changing his affiliation officially, again to become Congress's first capital L libertarian. Much of his argument for the party's presidential nomination, which he's expected to get, is that he's the candidate best positioned to blow up the two-party system.
I hope he does it with fucking C4, Simtex, even old school TNT.
ANFO. That's ammonium nitrate fuel oil.
Ah.
Diesel fuel. Yeah. It's an Oklahoma City joke. I am not a terrorist. Actually, the first World Trade Center attempted bombing in '93 was, I think it was ANFO.
Interesting.
I don't think that they packed the columns. Like, they didn't put the bomb in the right place. And it blew up and it went out. It didn't go where it would, blow up the columns.
No severe structural damage.
Yeah.
No integrity compromised.
It just stunned the living shit out of and hurt a handful of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. He's savvier than most politicians give him credit. When he speaks from the heart about his beliefs, voters can actually tell. He has a voting record that shows ideology over partisanship. And his campaign experience has taught him that many of his voters appreciate that, even when they disagree with him. They know where he stands and why. Amash posts explanations of his votes on major bills on Facebook. Very nice. It's very 21st century, by the way.
True.
It says he has a very fiscally conservative record in Congress. Hasn't voted for a single budget since during his time in Congress. Oh, and former Speaker John Boehner kicked him off the budget committee.
Hell, if Boehner don't like him, I love him.
Oh, John Boehner. And so he's also voted. He voted for the GOP health care bill. He is known as the lone dissenter. If there's ever a vote with one member voting no, it's a good chance it's him. Like Dr. No. Amash gained considerable notoriety in May 2019, first congressional Republican to support impeaching Trump. Shortly after that, Amash left the Republican Party to become an independent. And for the conservative Republicans who loved Amash, Even through his Trump criticism, his embrace of impeachment was the last straw. That seemed to be okay with Amash. For all the supporters he lost on the right, he seemed to gain even more on the left. But that honeymoon may have ended in February when Amash was one of 4 House members to vote against an anti-lynching bill that now awaits Trump's signature. He vehemently defends that vote, arguing that the explanations of the bill claiming it makes lynching a federal crime are plain wrong. What the bill actually did was criminalize conspiracies to violate certain existing laws. Amash argued that, at best, it codifies existing lynching provisions, and at worst, equates unrelated crimes with lynching and gives police and prosecutors more power to charge people with hate crimes. I've actually heard that. And I've had my issues with hate crimes, and I'm going to tell you why. Because a crime against you, if I go and I just knock the living crap out of you, talk about you, General Flynn, and if I go to my neighbor, I'll just call him Black Jeff. And I run over and just deck Black Jeff. And I say, I hate Hondurans and I hate, you know, black people. And the thing is, you say that, the first one, nobody thinks anything of, but apparently the second one is a hate crime because I targeted the guy, but I did the same crime. The fact that I just assaulted him is the crime. It's not
Mm-hmm.
because I targeted him because he was different. It's because I
Right.
punched him. It doesn't matter if I hate the person or not. If I don't like them, I don't like them. If I commit a crime against them, it's a violent crime. It's a violent crime. All right, let me see. On with the rat killing.
On with the rat killing.
If you're the type of voter attracted to a candidate who's able to argue legal minutia and recite the Constitution from memory, Amash may be your guy. Of course, another contrast with Trump, a potential overlap with Biden, who, like Amash, went to law school and has written legislation in Congress. Well, that's irrelevant. But Democrats may be more concerned that Amash will highlight Biden's similarities with Trump. Amash is a baby-faced 40-year-old, thank you, whose parents were born in Syria and the Palestinian territories. Biden is a 77-year-old white guy who sometimes fumbles his words. Trump is a 73-year-old white guy who sometimes speaks in complete sentences.
that was my favorite part of the article.
I mean, I'm pretty much the best guy named Trump that's ran for president. I mean,
Yeah.
while Amash was clear that he's aiming to actually win the presidency as a libertarian candidate, a more realistic result could be immensely consequential to the outcome. The 2016 libertarian candidate, Gary Johnson, drew 3.2% of the national vote, 4.4 million votes. An election analyst theorized that Johnson and Green Party candidate Jill Stein may have cost Hillary Clinton the presidency. You're welcome.
Yeah. On that one, yeah. I mean, it's Hillary.
I didn't steal anybody's vote. I literally voted. I really voted for somebody I wanted to win at the time.
Well, that too. That yeah, I did. But at the same time, like Hillary Clinton is the one candidate I've got nothing good to say about. It's like the only thing good I could say about her was she was one of the first females trying to run for president. That's about it.
Not quite. Geraldine Ferraro was a vice president. We've had a couple of women who actually wanted to be president before. We've actually had a handful run in other states unsuccessfully.
But did they get national media news attention?
No, but none of them
Then shut
were.
up.
None of them were first lady behind Bill Clinton either.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying she did it based on talent.
I mean, Dr. Mary Ruwart wanted to be president. Dr. Jill Stein, uh, she ran before. It's sad, actually, know about the Green Party. She's run several times.
Yeah.
She didn't steal anybody's votes. People wanted to vote for her. And I was like, I think she was a good person. I know about her. I don't know her, but I know about her.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you might not agree with the politics, but you can't say too much about the person.
Yeah, and you want to ask me? I said I would rather vote for her than against Hillary Clinton. And I
Yeah.
know people don't want to make sense of that, but it's the truth.
Well, it's like I always say, you always hear lesser of the two evils. Evil is still evil. I don't give a shit.
All right, let me see. In 2020, Amash may not even have to steal votes from Biden to tip the election. He may only need to convince a few thousand voters, perhaps only in his home state of Michigan, that there isn't enough of a difference between GOP and Democratic nominees to warrant standing in line for hours to vote, particularly if the coronavirus is still a threat in November. It's certainly a looming possibility, one made even more profound by the fact that Justin Amash generally thinks to think there is no lesser of two evils. I do believe that. I don't believe in two evils. I
I
believe
just said that.
no. I'm actually going to was it quantify? I'm going to
Okay.
quantify it. There should be at least 10 evils. There should be 10 people on the ballot. I don't care if it's
Well, there should be 10 people, yes, but see, it's the whole evil argument. That's where my hang up is. I'm pulling a Geralt from Witcher. Evil is still evil. It's like, don't go anywhere near it.
I don't want to call any of the candidates evil. That's the irony. I want you to pick the best candidate. I might not agree with you. There's a good chance I'm not going to. I
Well, in other
voted
words, you mean the best candidate in your opinion. That's that, or the one that you feel.
well, I don't feel anything. I'm trying to weigh the best candidate. Yes. But I also want, you know, people listening and even General Patrick Flynn. I don't want you to pick how much don't hate somebody. I'd rather pick like you think this person wants should be a good pick for president, or not
Yeah,
vote, or don't
the be,
vote,
the better candidate.
or don't vote, or write your own name in. I want millions of people to write their own names in. If you want to say it's a lesser of two evils, put your own name in and screw everybody. Because you know what? I think there's so many people that think low of themselves that they don't think that they're capable of public service. There's people I've seen do miraculous things that are everyday people. And yeah, I'm not giving you a pep talk or one of these like, one of my patent patriotic, speeches here. And I just wish people would get off that. I was like, you're not evil. Put your own name in. What? You're not good enough? You're not you, but anybody. You're not good enough. Anyway, let's get back to the rat killing. Okay.
Boo!
Wow. Dynamite. Oh, it says if you were looking for indication of how Amash, almost come on Amash might affect a race, you might look at how he's been campaigning. To this point, he tried to run on his record of limited government, constitutional conservatism, better criminal justice, less interventionist foreign policy, arguments that may naturally appeal to libertarian-minded Republicans, but he's also targeted partisanship as an enemy of his campaign and says he's running because hyper-partisanship has made government dysfunctional. Yes. Score one for the no preference approach.
Yeah.
I prefer women, but yeah, I mean, it's if you
Me too. Me too. They are my favorite porn stars.
well, I like having sex with women, so
I do too. I feel you.
the Rona. Perhaps the biggest tell has been what Amash hasn't talked about. He's largely sidestepped what may be the most damaging shot at Biden, that Amash is the one candidate not accused of sexual assault. Trump supporters don't seem to care that 25 women have accused their candidate of sexual misconduct. Looks like a bad typewriter. Some of the Biden supporters might care that their candidate now faces a serious allegation. Yeah, typewriter.
Right. The
At the
old
very
ribbon.
at the very least, leaning into Tara Reade's, that's READE, by the way, claims against Biden might help insulate Amash from some of the online criticism he's faced since announcing his candidacy. Ooh, yeah.
Speak, brother, speak.
Oh,
Use
yeah.
words. Use words, man.
Oh, no. When Huffington Post raised the topic, Amash dismissed it. Who wants to... It's like, let me tell you something, brother. Who wants to run a campaign like that? He said. I mean, maybe some people do. You know me, like, it's not my thing. It's like, it's not the thing I decided to run for president to talk about. That was supposed to be the Hulkster.
Right, right.
I got to bend down to talk to you. You're down here. Oh, Lord. Well, folks, it's not that I'm endorsing Justin Amash, but I do endorse you putting your own name in this year.
Well, I like the guy. I mean, from what limited exposure I've had to the guy, I definitely like him. He's on my radar for possible person to vote for. Him and I believe the other guy that we covered, Judge Gray. They're my top two so far. But I haven't, decided one way or the other yet. I don't know when the Libertarian Party is going to actually announce their, have their spill and announce their candidate for sure after they do their, what do they call it, the convention? Because of all of the Corona stuff, I don't know how they're doing it this year. Because usually by now they have officially announced their candidate. If it ain't the beginning of May, it's toward the end of this month. But I don't know how that's going to go with all the Corona stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see who it is. But if it's Gray or if it's Amash, then chances are I'm voting for the L again.
Well, I think that Justin Amash might draw that many votes, but I will give you a polite warning that even if Justin Amash does draw all those votes, I say this as jokingly as possible, John McAfee might just slaughter everybody.
Well, yeah. See, I think actually, even if Justin Amash doesn't win the presidency overall, I think he could win enough votes that would actually get the Libertarian Party over that
the government funding.
Yeah, that government funding issue.
Yep.
And that, and also the ballot access issue too.
Actually, I was thinking that we were going to have a constitutional crisis and a partial civil war when John McAfee literally, I say this as jokingly as possible, literally slaughters everybody and just takes the nomination.
I mean, I don't hate the guy. That's for sure.
Of any of the people we all talked about that I know who's fired firearms and has suffered from mental illness, it's John McAfee.
Yeah, but I don't hate the guy at all. It's just I don't think he can market a message good enough that would get enough of the votes needed to, at the bare minimum, get over the ballot access hump for everybody.
Mm-hmm. It's true. That is a big deal. I really do wish him luck on that end. It's like I don't believe in spoilers, but honestly think it would make them credible. At least the press would have to cover it.
That's kind of what I was getting at is like if he gets enough votes, they're going to have to talk about it, and the more exposure they get, that's what's needed.
And as much as even if he doesn't win this time, I said he can always go and become a bigger part of the party. He can always, keep running for office. He can even like what I've said about the libertarians. They need to literally have, and I know they've done it. Like they try to do it on like a smaller scale, but they need to create, like local, like state and lower level office, like a boot camp for candidates. And believe me, Republicans don't do it. You go up and they'll like, oh yeah, well, you can go to party meetings and yeah, you can volunteer. I'm like, I'm talking about shit slinging. I want Larry the dog catcher out there trying to become mayor. I want people busting their ass. I want the neighbors helping that guy out, Larry the dog catcher to become mayor. I want people to run. I want people to try. I want them to debate. I want them on the radio. I want them doing blogs. I said, "Well, the liberals do that already." said, screw it. You're people. I'm not saying liberals aren't people, but a lot of them are space mutants.
True enough. Some of them are
Yeah.
cute. Some of them are cute space mutants, though. Damn.
Brian Stelter is, shoves his hand up his ass and goes, I'm gonna rot for that one, but it's not like he's gonna come beat me up about it. He literally sat around his house and cried about it. Went to the John McAfee school of, not giving a shit. He picks up his as he picks up his AK-47 and
No! AK-47. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitutes.
Russian hole punch. I want to get, I have a magazine over here. It's AK magazine, and like all these mods and stuff, U.S. built ones, Krebs, like a Krebs model. And I want to get I want to get a poster of that. I'll probably get a poster out of it and put it in my cubicle, and it says, Russian hole punch. In case of emergency.
Well, the original Russian AK is a damn good assault weapon, that's for sure. I'm not too happy with the Chinese ones, but the Russian ones they're hard to beat. They may not be the most accurate thing on the planet, but they are freaking durable as hell.
Yeah, and believe me, when the design really, they had to redesign an M14. They had to redesign a M16. And when AK-47s, it's worked. It still works. I was like, so easy a kid can use it, and they do.
And on that note, folks.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, thank you for joining us, guys. I do want to thank General Patrick Flynn for joining us. Everybody, give him a hand.
Hi. Thanks for having me, people. It's always fun to torment you. Always fun. I love pissing you off.
Also, below, over here, down there.
Down where? You're supposed to say down there.
Down there.
That
was it was the D-Generation X proudly presents the Twitter address.
The Twitter. I was going to go, D-Generation X proudly brings to you its Tag Team Champions of the World.
Was it the Road Dog?
The Road Dog, Jesse James. The Badass Billy Gunn. The New Age Outlaw. Then give it a pause. Hand the mic over to Mr. Ass. And if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it.
Suck it.
And if you don't like that, feel free to tweet us below at FreeMatt Podcast, FreeMattPodcast. And we are also, obviously you're watching it on YouTube, but our Gmail address is freemattpodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, it'll be below. We're also going to have the links to the 2 articles for your perusal. You can read them in full, and you can tell us how awesome we are after reading them.
And well, after, before, and maybe even during, because honestly, we love to hear it. We love to hear it.
Yes, I was going to say, send us some hate mail.
You love that too. Yes, we want the hate. Bring the hate.
I would really hate for you to hit the notification bell over there, and then I think the subscribe button's right here. But
they hit the subscribe button. I'm going postal. We
will, like John McAfee. We will. And if you leave a reply message, generally speaking, I'm gonna let it sit there, or I'm gonna leave a funny note in response. If you want to send us a link or something, I'm a sucker for. Yeah. Also, feel free to get in touch with us if you have swag or like little tchotchkes you want to send us. I'll try to find a postal drop for you guys. Just send me an email. Just drop me a reply. We'll do our best. Any parting words, General Patrick Flynn?
Not this week, man. It's just I really like the fact that I guess I do have a couple. I really like the fact that we've got a couple more third-party candidates we were able to present and talk about, kind of bring to light. I hope this kind of lets people know that there are other options out there. It don't even have to be libertarian. Just vote outside of the red or blue. I think that is the main thing, because that's the only way that gets their attention. If you vote red or you vote blue begrudgingly, i.e. the lesser of the two evils, they're not going to see that there's a problem. They're going to keep things as they are because they're getting enough votes and don't have to change. When you actually vote differently, whether it be for the L or somebody else, that's what gets their attention. So I'm all about this. I hope we find more and more articles on, I don't care if they're from the Libertarian Party or not, just more and more articles of different people where we can finally start to change this shit, because it's going to be a slow process, and we got it, and we start doing it by doing things differently and not doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Word. I'm going to take us out, guys. Please take care of yourself. Love liberty. Be kind to others. Do unto others as they would do unto you. Please take care of yourselves. Avoid the Rona. Please join us again. Thank you.
Unless it's got lime. Holla!
Oh, yeah, that worked. It just
That
cut
really
me
did.
out.